William passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a fall. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. But sadly Eric William passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a fall. Captain, this ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. But sadly Eric William passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a fall. Captain, this ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. But sadly Eric William passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a fall. Captain, this ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. But sadly Eric William passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a fall. Captain, this ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a fall. Captain, this ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we got from the Trinidad. Location, 7 miles off the coast of Venezuela. SOS, SOS, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Help! Help! The Trinidad, a luxury liner, sailing the Caribbean Sea with an old captain named Eric Williams. Oh yes, it's smooth and free. But sadly, Eric Williams passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over.
Yes, once again, just in case you weren't hearing me in a while, I noticed that the mic was disturbed earlier. Let me say welcome to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, Offensive Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Enjoy.
Empty, no electricity, we oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what.
Let's go straight to the lines. 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 A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
So let's check the audio on the show.
Yes. I just realized that, and I did correct it. You'll call me back to let me know if it is still impaired. All right? Okay. Thanks very much.
Yeah, but I have no audio. Okay.
All right. Well, I by the time you called, I did in fact repair it. So let's see. Let me just check on my monitor here first. Very good. Yes. So all indications from the studio, it has been repaired, and thank you very much, of course, for your interest. So let's get back, of course, to the theme, the deception, of course, and the institution, the political institution, claiming to be, of course, the longest in this country, but its longevity, I'm sure, has been should I say has been, of course, shortened. Yes, has been, in a real sense, now in temporary mood, ephemeral mood, it has been truncated. Yes, it has been inchoate. Yes, inchoate. Shortened. Compendious. Shortened. Yes, short. Yes, people. And we have a duty and responsibility to let the world know, quite apart from the domestic population, because all politics is domestic. I accept that. And therefore, when the time comes and you have to make your judgment, you will do so knowing full well that you are abreast with and of all the facts, and go to the polls confidently and give Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC a resounding, of course, victory. I say 26, 27 seats. But I will not be surprised if it is 39. Yes, everything in Trinidad, having regard to what Tobago has done to the PNM after 21 years. But of course, we can no longer tolerate the bizarre and the evil and the putrid and the wickedness and the attempt, of course, to tax us into not just poverty, but into oppression and depression and clearly, ultimately, the chaotic or the shambolic state of affairs that is now characteristic of Trinidad and Tobago. Crime and criminality, I understand that of course the murder rate is what, 30 something, 37 thereabout, or 27 thereabout. But I know that somebody who monitor these things will call in and of course tell us what the official figures are, as opposed to the unofficial figures, because you know we have that in Trinidad. Rowley and they will try to soften their position by being minimal, while of course all we are asking for is the truth and nothing but the truth. So let's look at the situation in Trinidad and Tobago. But before we do that, let us make certain, because you see, there is an argument. I got it today on the ground report that, listen, somehow, because Jack Warner, for example, castigated Kamala Persad-Bissessar at some point in time, that is like eating your vomit by taking back Jack Warner, or people, sycophants of course, and those who have a proclivity to defend the indefensible, because I mean, your leader is a rapist and a pedophile, and you still have the audacity, the temerity to write or to talk. Shut your mouth, eat your biscuit, and hush, because you are a moving disaster. But I want to remind them that in spite of all of that, Warner was embraced by Rowley at one time. That's so. And Rowley knew what he said about Kamala. He knew. So the point I am making is that if he now has a change of mind and he decides, of course, to gravitate back to Kamala, what the hell, Rowley and all of them could eat their heart out. The fact is that he has and can continue to make a contribution to Trinidad and Tobago as a African symbol. And that is where we are going, as an African symbol that has, of course, achieved great heights. And in spite of the blot brought on by, of course, the biases of the Western world, the United States, etc. And now, of course, he has been totally vindicated, because in the United States, the courts are saying, the Supreme Court is saying, that America had no right inside FIFA business. That is essentially what was the latest, even though he is still, of course, in the sphere of extradition, but it has now become null and void and of no effect. I know that, he knows that, the world that applies common sense to these situations know that, or if they are following. If let's assume that the law courts in this country decides, of course, to extradite him, I see no grounds for it, because, of course, he's going to now say that, listen, America say that this law is an overreach by the American authorities, overreach into a private organization that has international, of course, connotations or implications or spread or reach. But that is irrelevant. The Supreme Court of the United States say that the authorities in one case, and therefore, if that is one case, means that it is no precedent, and all it is now is a matter of time and process for that matter that caused Trinidad and Tobago to be involved in the extradition process of Warner will no longer be. It will come to an end, an abrupt end. But I want you to also know that before all of that, when Warner was part of the UNC and therefore the partnership, Rowley was a tick in his rear. Don't forget that. Rowley was a tick in Warner's rear, saying that he should not be a minister. Don't forget that. And trying, of course, to sully and to throw poison in the man's coffee or the man's medicine. Yeah. And then he still came. Because in between there, Warner and Kamala would have fallen out. And when we examine it, let's face it, Kamala was justified in taking the position. It's not that she was exploitative, but she took the position because Warner's name was being called to account for matters involving FIFA, and she didn't want to get the government embroiled in that. And that was a reasonable, justifiable, and responsible thing to do. But up come Rowley and grab him up. But them in saying that, these sycophants and these, of course, eclectic, selective, and of course, what I consider to be selective defenders of nothing. But now that he is back with Kamala, them having a problem. Hello, little. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox. And
Yeah,
all
pleasant
your
good night to you as well, my friend.
And to share. And Mr. Lennox.
Hey.
No, this is one with Mr. Warner. Now I want to hear about the EMBD, what they will have to sing the song now and how it will go. Because the Lords of England do the same thing and tell them that there was no fraud and they had to pay the contractors and them. So you see, the red herring, the green herring, and the PNM herring, it failed. So now what now they will
tell me, because my information is different on that matter. So tell me, was it a recent one? What today, yesterday, what? Because the law lord said that they have to file their defense. They agreed with the local court here. So I want to know if there's another one.
Yeah, this is a different. It's two parts of the case.
Oh, I see.
This one where the law lord rule where they had to file the defense in Trinidad court. Hear the case.
Right. Okay.
That is the one where the chairman EMBD bring the minister, the Munilal.
Munilal, yes, who have to file their defense. Yeah. So
right.
But there's a second one that we say.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the other part with the payment, whether it was withholding for the contractor's payment.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I want to know
I'll have to check that because I'm not aware. But you see how we like to evoke and to extract the truth, because we don't want to be because maybe genuine misunderstanding or misinterpretation or misassessment of the situation can lead to someone saying that you were deliberately trying to mislead. So thanks very much, of course, for that. So there's a second matter that deals with, of course, the payment of those contractors that was held back by EMBD. EMBD. Go ahead, my friend. Go ahead. Yes.
No. And the contractor is I quoted my source of information.
Okay.
CNC3, the PNM stalwart rally.
And that was today. That was today.
Yes, this evening.
Okay. Good.
Right?
Good.
And the contractor is the Mr. Junior Sami group of companies.
All right. Good.
Junior Sami, right, for land development in right next to the St. Martin somewhere there.
Yeah. Good.
So
great.
I think I quoted after the news. So
no. I just want to make sure that that you did not misinterpret, because I rely on you for the genuine information, and as I would be subjected to as a human being, I could make a mistake as well. So I thought we should settle that one time. But go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. So because I know it's two parts that have in it.
Okay.
So good. So now the other part I will not mention it because it's sub judice, as I was saying, before the court. And so now I would like to say Shuk Diwali to each and every one. You're on tomorrow night, so I will say it again to all the listeners on your live.
Yes.
Happy Diwali to each and every one of your listeners. And may Mother Lakshmi put that true divine light in their heart to see the wickedness of the PNM and to conquer the darkness that Pete Rowley and his Baja Ragabons had put us over. So let's move forward to the light of the rising sun. So I will ask all who are Hindus and intend to go to the Diwali Nagar tomorrow, please boycott it and stand in solidarity to show Rowley that we're not taking abuse as East Indian, because you could see plain that where on a festive, they sent the supervisor, school supervisor, give the penal Presbyterian school a memorandum that no children should think they had to dress Indian and then go back to the school wear, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, that is discrimination by itself, because Emancipation Day, for the whole day, school, everything, everybody dressed. In the bank for the whole day, they do it. Now you telling me you have to just go to school in a uniform, change, and then change back in because they're looking for criminals? Mr. Lennox, I think as an East Indian, right, and African blood in me, I think enough is enough because discrimination and geographic discrimination, economic discrimination is too much. And it is time. Rowley have to know it's 10 more months, and that they call the internal election, and they'll see who is the new leader. And people reject him. So stop looking for political mileage. And the independent senator, Timol, I want to know if you're really an independent senator or you want to tell the East Indian community that we're still in barracks. Mr. Lennox, have a good
Thank
night.
you very much. So you're saying, just hold on. So you're saying that there is a circular from the Ministry of Education asking children to do what?
No, the school supervisor
Uh-huh.
deliver a letter,
Uh-huh.
right? That students
Uh-huh.
will have to come to school in a school uniform
Oh, okay.
and change into the Indian way, right?
In school?
If they have that function in school, and then go back to the school uniform after it finished in the school, right?
What the
But
hell?
before, everybody
What are you
just
putting
put
them
on
through all that
Indian way.
for?
Huh?
What are you putting them through all that for?
Because
What's the
they're looking
reason?
for bandits. Yeah.
so the bandit go hide in the costumes?
Yeah. So you see,
It's only the PNM, only PNM can come up with those asinine and what I consider be infantile and clearly, I mean, you can't find words for the level of stupidity that seem to be engulfing this government. But go ahead.
yeah. So I just explain it because you asked to
Yes,
update.
yes.
So I would like other callers who hear the news to explain it. And I think Mr. Santa Cruz could call in or Mr. Rima could call in.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure
because
before the night finishes, we're going to get some additional information on those issues that I am, as I said, not familiar with, but certainly I will check. I pride myself on making sure that we have what I consider to be unchallengeable information, and I thank you for introducing that because I was not aware of that second matter with respect, of course, to the EMBD, and I'm certainly going to check on it as well. So thanks very much for that intervention. No pieces of information is bad, especially, of course, if it is delivered without malice. Is when you have bad intention. Like, of course, I heard Mr. Porospain this morning. I mean, and is the most amount of what I consider to be crass and deliberate misinformation and disinformation. So that is why I mentioned, of course, Warner. It was because of him, because we have to disabuse ourselves. The fact of the matter is that Rowley was attacking Warner when he was a member of the PP administration led by Kamala Prasad-Bissessar. They came and fall out, and so Rowley take him up, right?
No,
he said certain things about Kamala. All right, fine, and then of course he is now back there. But these sycophants may be sensing a opportunity for political, what I consider to be salvation. They then seen that as immoral. So I had to tell them that why it wasn't immoral when Rowley picked him up after, of course, he cussed the man stink, and he should not have been in government in the first place. All that Rowley say about the man. But go ahead, my friend. You have additional information? Or comment?
No. I finished, but it's because you for this clarify everything with you. Because you can say many more on Mr. Jack Warner and Keith Rowley. Yes. Because when he thought that he could get political mileage to pull on the UNC, he get mileage to pull on his own self. And that started the demise of the PNM. And thanks to the EBC.
And but that doesn't stop the sycophants from being confused and of course generating square peg and round hole logic. They are simply out of it because they are simply in a state of discombobulation or confusion or they are totally flummoxed. It is an enigmatic situation for them. They are simply in a puzzle zone. Well, I can't say I'm feeling sorry for them, but they look for that, because if you know that you are inadequate, if you know that you are deficient, do not venture. Do not venture where angels fear. That's all. Yeah, that's the lesson. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, people. Of course, we have started, of course, with a bumper. Let me just play a little more of that for you because, of course, I would prefer to use the word. Yes, Trinidad is sinking, yes, but not yet totally sunk because, of course, Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC will come to the rescue. Yes, indeed.
The Trinidad, in her day of sailing, she was a friend to one and all. She never once ever hesitated to answer all SOS calls. And yes, well, she always did her best to help all those in distress. Now it's so sad to see she's in difficulties. Though she helped cheer, some of them cheer and sarcastically declare, Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we sit on it and perish slow? We don't know. We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa.
Oh yes, people, but of course, don't forget that there is a brewing controversy with respect, of course, around, of course, the political leader of the UNC. These days, she are getting, of course, all the attention of the media. Because, of course, very recently, George Young having, of course, triggered that whole process. And, of course, we like to use the term, who the gods wish to destroy, they first send them mad. And, of course, we also like to use the analogy, very, very, very cryptic in the sense of being unique to the PNM and this Rowley administration. But of course we say, oh, what a tangle web we weave when one first set out to deceive. And they set out to deceive. We have proven that over and over, no need for that. But of course, as somebody introduced last night, and I thought I should look it up, and therefore I'm proud, of course, to announce, yes, it is and was a fact. The Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, let me repeat that, the Global Organization of People of Indian Origin did in fact write to the Diwali Nagar administrators, organizers, asking for George Young not to, or put another way, to rescind their invitation or take back or recall their invitation to George Young acting as Prime Minister, and itself is an insult. Let me repeat that. I say that George Young acting as Prime Minister, even if it was not Diwali and it was not the Naga invitation, is an insult. And I want to also say that it is a reflection of the criminalistic, I must say that, the disrespectful, the heinous, the predatory, the political avarice of Rowley as Prime Minister, and the insult that he loves to impose on the people, believing somehow that all of us are fools. Understand that. That is what that is all about. How dare you, Rowley, undermine and subvert our moral and ethical and value system of what is right and what is wrong. I'm sure you would have read Macbeth. When in Macbeth, that Shakespeare's play, that where elements saw right as wrong and wrong as right, or wrong as right and right as wrong. And you are exhibiting that on a daily basis in Trinidad and Tobago and in this situation. But you never catered for that. You see, just as how you never catered for the relenting, or the unrelenting, I should say, insistence of the people of Trinidad and Tobago through the honorable and the sovereign opposition that would, of course, reflect the wishes of the people. When you interfered with that shortlist and caused the commissioners of the Police Service Commission to resign, Bliss Sipasad, it wasn't a blissful situation for her because she lied and she succumbed and she groveled to your dictates. And as a typical poison, she found her not just political but career demise. She was poisoned by you, Rowley, by your intervention. And the president was almost consumed by the same poison, by the poison chalice that you introduced into that scenario. When the shortlist was supposed to be forwarded to the president for a commissioner of police to the parliament, but instead you went and you gave some poisonous intervention, some poisonous tentacles that is stereotypical of this government. We saw that, of course, with the poison letter by who? Yes, by the Minister of Finance, Imsbert, against a job that the former matters not to whether or not his dismissal was questionable. I'm not focusing on that, even though that ought to be a justifiable contemplation. But he took his time. He emerged as Minister of Finance for Trinidad and Tobago like a typical glad handler. Irresponsible, reckless, and brutal, and vindictive, right to one of the multilateral agencies, financial, I think is the International Monetary Fund or the World Bank, where Jawala Rambaran was supposed to get a job, applied for a job, and they asked Imbert for some kind of recommendation as is normal, and the man sent a poison recommendation. He sent a poison recommendation because Jawala told him when he met with him, even though of course we now know that it was a blatant and unadulterated lie. When in 2015, Rowley and Imbert was telling us, especially Imbert, that the country was running on fumes. Oh, what a despicable group of individuals that has ever, of course, disgraced the honorable offices of Minister and Prime Minister. Here it is. He told us that the country was running on fumes. And it turned out that there was, of course, over $12 billion in reserve. Oh gosh, Rowley, oh gosh, Imbert. And then, of course, today, they don't talk about the $12 billion that they met there, left by Kamla Prasad Bisasa and the UNC, because they want to generate their own elusive and, of course, delusionary narrative that somehow they have done well, when in fact, of course, they have done so badly and they have done so much evil, and they have, of course, plunged the country into a state of what I consider to be total and absolute abyss and decadence. And telling us that level of mismanagement and that level of unexpected degradation is the best thing for Trinidad and Tobago. Those nincompoops, an asinine specimen of inhumanity, protoplasm ought to be destroyed so that these elements could not be where they are today. Or put another way, as some people would say, best they were the placenta, the afterbirth, so that we wouldn't have to, of course, deal with these inhumane and despotic and despicable and egregious individuals. Yes, indeed. So, Rowley made an intervention That's the point I am making. And I'm showing at the same time, simultaneously, weave into the whole matrix is that a tendency, a proclivity, or almost a predilection or predisposal to evil, and utilizing government office, utilizing our money, utilizing taxpayers' money, utilizing our children's patrimony to pursue, of course, their criminal behavior. The criminal behavior. No respect for the rule of law. No respect, of course, for the separation of powers. No respect for our independent institutions. No respect. Not even for the fourth estate. I'm talking about the media as they use as a strategy. Aggression being the best form of defense. And they pretend, of course, to know. And they are, as my mother would say, as empty as the back of a spoon. I don't know how a back of a spoon could be empty, but I suspect it is an oxymoron. Empty like a back of a blasted spoon. That's what they are. So I am making the point that when Rowley made the intervention, he even jeopardized for the first time a sitting president, because the president was in a quandary, having, of course, acceded to his request. And it resulted, of course, in the entire commission, the Police Service Commission, resigning. And, as I was saying, the loyal and dedicated and sovereign, if you want to call it that, not that I'm giving them, of course, any kind of royal position, but I think royalty here suggests superlative performance. Superlative performance of the opposition. When, with their vast presence in the parliament, in the lower house, 19 seats as opposed to just 22 seats. They initiated, of course, never before seen impeachment of the president. That is despicable. That is unprecedented. That was never contemplated when the constitution of this country was, of course, written and laid out and became law in Trinidad and Tobago. No. It was always someone who can make a difference because their integrity will not be questioned, cannot be questioned, because of what they would have been able to do through their profession and in service of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And in this case, of course, Muttley was, of course, she was the former president. She was, of course, a distinguished person in the jurisprudence or in the legal fraternity in Trinidad and Tobago. And Rowley was able, of course, by his vindictive, poisonous, unrelenting evil and curse and destructive tendency, subjected the woman to a possible impeachment. And I say, well done to the opposition. Well done, Kamala Prasad Bisasa, exercising your power, because Rowley, up to that point in time, when, of course, she appeared to be the beneficiary. So Rowley thought of the 9 days or the 10 days mentality of the country. The opposition will have none of it. And they instituted, of course, impeachment proceedings and convene, of course, both houses of parliament in order to discuss this matter. Rowley panicked. He panicked. I could well imagine how his bam was palpitating when, of course, all of that had to happen for him to say, it was me. But all the time, the opposition responsibly was saying a senior government minister went and intervened and, of course, intercepted that shortlist. He was saying he was being circumlocutive. He was going all around the mulberry bush. Yes, remember that? It's the same thing he did with respect, of course, to Petrotrin and the closing thereof. It's the same thing he did, of course, with the Galicia. It's the same thing he did, of course, with the Cabo Star and the Ocean Flower. It's the same thing he did with respect, of course, to the Galleon Passage. It's the same thing he did with the crashing of the sea bridge. It's the same thing he did when, of course, he tried to impose his will by putting 3 additional seats in the Tobago House of Assembly so that he could get an unfair advantage. It's the same modus operandi playbook. Yes, indeed. You must understand what we are dealing with here. And so, he jeopardized the presidency of this country. He, Rowley, his toxicity knows no limit. And if you were to spread his toxicity around the globe, it will go around the globe several times and still have room. That is how toxic this man is. And all you going to tell me about what? Because he has the office of Prime Minister, he must unreservedly be respected? I say no. He must earn his respect. This is a democracy. We demand that we continue the principles of democracy. And we say to you that we can do better. We must do better. And the Rowley and they are the epitome, are the quintessential anti-Trinidad and Tobago, the quintessential robbers of our treasury, the quintessential, and should I say, candidate for treasonous behavior, having, of course, betrayed their oath of office. What was the oath of office, or what is the oath of office that they still are supposed to be honoring? Well, to do all right thing to all men and women, of course, and do it in the interest of Trinidad and Tobago. You know them, do it in the interest of themselves. To stay in government and to continue, of course, to administer pain, ache, agony, distress, and only have the audacity to talk to me. Cannot talk to me. And they cannot talk to any right-thinking citizen. And the hogwash and the diatribe and the incompetence and impotence and misinformation and disinformation and criminal behavior of this entire government. Entire government, my people. Entire government. And that is why today in Trinidad is what? That is why Trinidad is what?
Beautiful vessel. Money's no problem. Now there's a lot of fingers pointing, suspicion running strong. Who's to be blamed for all her failures? Who's to be blamed for doing her wrong? Now please remember, I'm warning you, for 30 years she had the same crew who hold the keys to her vault. So we know who's at fault. Now it's up to you, it's up to me to make her worthy to go back to sea. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. We don't know. Captain, you tell me. Oh, you.
And people, it's not by accident I am playing this particular tune, because it has to do with what I consider to be the misplaced, irrational, square peg and round hole logic. You know that square peg and round hole in terms of offices. Rowley, of course, is very famous for that. All of his cabinet ministers are undeserving of the offices. And of course, his attention to details and good fit. Yes, always asymmetrical. Is not in keeping with what is expected. It is not parallel with what is expected. Asymmetrical. And that is because it is clear that he has been reckless in so far as due diligence is concerned. He's not concerned about that. He's not concerned that the person who he chooses must have at least some understanding or have the capacity from a managerial perspective to recruit the required people to give the appropriate advice because they are experts. And of course, the manager not necessarily should be an expert or is an expert, but if they are experts, it means that it is a better fit and greater, of course, benefit to the task that is ahead. But assuming that they don't, as politics often do, a minister don't have to be an expert in agriculture to be, of course, a Minister of Agriculture. Of course, it is different for an Attorney General. You have to be a lawyer at least. But in every other of the ministries, whether it's the Ministry of Works, whether it's the Ministry of Culture, whether it's the Ministry of Sports, whether it's the Ministry of Youth, or whether it's the Ministry of Social Development, or whether it's the Ministry of Planning, you don't necessarily have to be an expert, because you will have the experts at your disposal who will give you advice on what you do. You make decisions out of the various advanced arguments that you would have had before you, or the various decisions that you will have to adjudicate upon, particularly if it is one out of several that you have to make in terms of choice. No different to the United States president, the most powerful person arguably in the world, but he has his experts around him. But at the end of the day, he is relied upon, of course, not only to get the best advice, but to do the best in the circumstance for the people of the United States in particular. And these days, of course, they have a global responsibility. It's the same thing with a minister. But when you have a fellow like Rowley, who clearly would defend the people like Robinson Regis and, of course, Al-Rari, and then you have, of course, a Chong, who has, of course, a vested interest in business, his family, financial entities or financial business. And Al-Rari, of course, his real estate and the offering particularly of government to rent for government use and office space. And then in the case of Robinson Regis, can't account for over $100,000 that she said came out from one bank. The same bank that it came out from said they know nothing about that, the money is still there. But yet still that same over $100,000 ended up in another bank in Arima, First Citizen Bank. And then Rowley would say, well, listen, because of course the bank did what it had to do, flag it and of course report it possibly to the FIU, the Financial Intelligence Unit, that monitors, of course, questionable transactions for possible money laundering and corruption of officials and non-officials, of course. Then you wonder. And he says that because, of course, the bank did what they had to do, he would take out his money from the bank that exposed Camille Robinson Regis. What kind of man is that? What kind of man is that? And then, of course, when the population in their disquiet, having regard, of course, to the bias nature of the police service, in terms of if it's a poor person's or a poor community where people are displaying guns and ammunition and so on, they will find them. And if they catch them, of course, they take them to court. In the case of Al-Rari and his children, holding, of course, in a similar situation, no different. On the one hand, you have the immoral and unethical position of Al-Rari disclaiming his children. Yes, he disclaimed his children. Up to now, he says his children. But Rowley saying it's his children and don't know that the next move is to get rid of Al-Rari or tell Al-Rari to go and admit it to the police that it's his children. That is what we have purported to be ministers and exemplars and, of course, paragons of virtue. Yes, and so-called role models. I know if them are role models for my children, I tell my children, no, that is not the value system that we were taught and grew up. And all those institutions of social control, beginning with the family, and then the church and the school. And then, of course, if you go off the straight and narrow, you end up in jail. Jail is one of them as well. And then, of course, the judicial system. All of that, a part and parcel of carving a productive and law-abiding citizen. Rowley and they are infringers of fundamental rules, principles, values, and law. And they are eating from the upper echelons. In other words, they are getting the sweetest nectar. That is wrong. That is wrong. And then, of course, their propensity to promote mediocrity and therefore dishonesty and therefore the criminal behavior that we're seeing all over the place at different levels is due and as a consequence of that disposition that these people have. People, of course, you can call the number to call, of course, 337-6940. I believe, of course, we are up and running, but I know that the information is so poignant and it's so biting and it's so incisive and it's so intellectually as well as conscience awareness driven that you will have. Of course, you prefer to listen, but I say make your intervention and you can criticize what I'm saying as well, because this, after all, this is about democracy and the democratizing of our system. That is why I can come here tonight and speak like this. But when you have a situation where the government control the media and the traditional medias, television station and radio station, etc., to spew by emptying the treasury and paying them with our money, and they depend on it, well, you have this scenario of who pays the piper calls the tune, and you see them, of course, spreading misinformation, disinformation, and situations totally incongruent, opposite, anti the reality of Trinidad and Tobago today. They will tell you that there's no poverty. They will tell you, of course, that the government is doing well, when all you are seeing, of course, and experiencing from that so-called well is pain, ache, agony, and then the government itself will tell you, of course, that they have turned around the economy way back in 2018, and that, of course, they could see clearly now in 2019. All of them kind of lyrical hogwash, cacophonous babblings. And what it boiled down to? An attempt to gaslight, brainwash, deceive, and have us accept mediocrity and the endangerment of the society in more ways than one. Yeah. So people, we must not believe that somehow we are incapable of doing the right thing, and we must force Rowley and they to do the right thing. That is what that is all about. And that is where we are. Tonight, of course, I wanted to look at the whole question of Jindal, the role of the... I have a video that is being prepared as we speak. I don't know. I may have to, of course, do it tomorrow. Instead, show it tomorrow because it's taken so long to download. But it's very comprehensive and has to do, of course, with a continuation of what I spoke of yesterday, and that is to say, those persons who at one time wield influence and, of course, what I consider to be public opinion swaying and have disappointed. Of course, I spoke of Roger. He will be featured in that as well. I gave you, of course, an excerpt of it at the ending of last night's program. But, of course, people like Helen Drayton, former independent senator. We also had, of course, in the Calypso field, I identified, of course, Coco, and I told you that now he has admitted that he's a lick-bottom African. And then, of course, I spoke to you about persons in the religious sphere. I talked about Father Harvey, how he misled us into believing that somehow Rowley will be some kind of what I consider to be Mosaic, a leader, something like Moses. And it turned out, of course, to be huff and puff, disappointment, incompetent, criminalistic, and contrary to all principles. The man is totally and absolutely dishonest. And when dishonorable people seek honorable office, the only outcome could be what we are getting today. Yes, the shambolic state of affairs. He wants us to accept mediocrity. And don't tell me you don't understand what I mean by that, you know. He wants us to accept mediocrity. He wants us to accept incompetence. He wants us to accept the orchestration of taxing us into poverty and abject reduction in the quality of life and standard of living of the average person, and worse yet, making no preparations for the future generations, those who are yet to born and have recently been birth. Yeah, he wants us to say we must leave nothing for them. So you'll understand why they see the Heritage and Civilization Fund as something to interfere with and not for future generations. As Imbert said, it is not a trophy. Not realizing the implications for interfering with that, because it has economic negative implications. Because when an institution where they go to borrow money, they see that they had to dip into our sovereign fund, the fund that was left there for a rainy day, but more importantly for our not yet born generations and those who are up and coming and will be the future leaders and managers of the society and the economy and the government. And you're taking that to, like any businessman, like any banker, the less you are able or show signs that you can pay back the people their money if you want a loan, it's only because of regulations. They don't do it, but they will give you a higher interest because they're taking a higher risk by, of course, lending you or making you a customer of theirs. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox, who is more dishonest than you were convicted of fraud? Won't you?
Go ahead, talk. Let me hear you.
I'm asking you to be conversing.
No. You tell me what you want to. You don't ask me anything. You tell me what you want to say, and then of course.
I am telling you, unlike Dr. Rowley, you was convicted of fraud. Dr. Rowley was never convicted of fraud. You have a conviction.
So you know that. What is your name? Tell me your full name. And I will make you pay for that. Later on. Since I was convicted of fraud, and I am saying I have not been convicted of fraud, but since you say that, I say I want
Why
to get
not
your name. Listen. Online,
Why?
the whole world say that. I want to get your name. I am going to send you a pre-action protocol letter. I'm going to go through the process, and you prove the fraud that I was subjected to. Other than that, I am telling you that I have the proof that your leader, the man who, and I understand why you would say what you are saying, is simply because the man that you are seeing as your leader is a blasted rapist and a pedophile. I have the proof. I know the date. I have the birth papers. I have when, of course, the incident took place, etc., etc. And until, of course, you could give me your name, give me your correct name. In fact, send it by WhatsApp for me. Send it by WhatsApp, and then we go talk. All right. So let us not be diverted from nonsensicality, because I challenge him on air, and he's of course unwilling to give me that information, just going wrong the road, something like Rowley. So I'm saying to him, anybody who, and I know they will have no choice but to call it. I am saying to you, eat your heart out. I am saying to you that you have a leader that is a rapist and a pedophile. Whether or not I have been convicted or not of whatever you are claiming that I have been convicted of, then I am not the prime minister. I have not sought to be prime minister of this country. Understand that. I am not the prime minister of the country. And I certainly, those persons of that cloth cannot be my leader. Cannot be my leader. In my home, once Rowley is speaking, they take off the blasted television. Otherwise, I mash it up even though I have money to pay. That fellow, you see, why I was so hostile to him is because I'm here on George Street now, and he was the man who said that I was never on George Street. You know, he stopped talking just as Rowley. He stopped talking. He told me the other day that I can't go to America. Well, I had to show him, well, I was in America. I was in Colombia. Every year, the Inter-American Development Bank will send me an invitation. I'll stop going now to wherever their meetings are, whatever continent, whatever country of the world. I was at the SID conference in Barbados, of course, very high-level discussions. And of course, having a teacher background, you'll understand, are doing it to educate. But it appears that they don't want that. But let's go straight to the line here. Pleasant good night, welcome. Let me see where I get it. And I'm gonna put it here with you. All right.
I'm listening.
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse, I'm listening.
Yes.
Action tonight.
Yes, man.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Mr. Porter Spain, boy. Giving you a hard time.
No. That's a very easy time. He is a nincompoop, and he is not in my league. I will entertain him. That is what I consider to be entertainment value. That's what it is. Go ahead. But let's get on to
what
business.
I want to say is, all them things you're talking about, the breaking of the democracy,
yes,
the controlling of all them independent institutions, especially the EBC.
Yeah,
it have who they say the ABC, but the EBC, etc., all the dishonest things that he doing. It's a place for here, you know. And I wouldn't stop saying it.
Of course.
Because when he partner next door, and I call him name, Nicolas Maduro was doing exactly that. Yeah. It's not only the part where he violates human rights. People have to get it straight in case they don't know. Is how we break the democracy, right? And controlling independent institutions, especially the part with the Supreme Court, where he controlling all them judges inside of there, and they have to do what he say, like how they do again. The woman in the court, the head judge, the chief justice, his family to his wife, and they end up sanctioning she for this last election where she say the government Maduro regime win the election. The first time is because of all of that with the Chief Justice, which was a male, Michael Monero. You hear? I know what become of him. I wasn't paying attention when he come out now. But he gets sanctioned, right? And he wanted for corruption. They're paying $5 million for his capture. Is the whole blasted regime sanctioned and wanted, so much of them wanted. And Rowley doing business with these people.
Jindal too.
That kind
Jindal
of shit.
Jindal too.
Well, watch me. Jindal is just a proxy. All you don't know. Jindal is just a proxy.
No, I am talking. You have to listen sometimes when I speak in. You have to listen. I don't talk just so. I'm saying that Jindal too, in terms of criminal action back in India. That is what I'm talking about. That's where you raised, and that's what I was talking to. But go ahead.
Yes. Okay. With that part with Jindal,
yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Just
all of them, right? But all them kind of thing, you're messing with this criminal man, where apart from having problems in the Organization of America, right? Apart from that, he had problem with drugs.
Yes.
And you doing business with a criminal man like that?
I'm defending it.
A bold-faced man?
I'm defending it too, He and Chogam quite the next other side of the world in Samoa and sending back elaborate letter. Is that what I putting together now, but it's taking long to finish. But go ahead. Yes.
I hear when he talking about Jindal over there. You hear? But it he talking, you know. It he decide to talk, so you know. Is he partner just put him up to talk? Like when he was begging all about for them to ease up the sanction and thing, he just put all them CARICOM heads to beg and talk for he. You hear? I just see the news over there and I just hear all what going on here. He just set them up to talk. Right? But what I say, let me come back to this.
Go ahead.
It a place for he and the regime. And if the lady only report him there, not only write letter for international observers, they will handle him to suit. But she ain't doing it. I don't know if she love him.
If she what?
Yeah.
If she what?
I don't know if she love him.
I know he does visualize, he does dream that she love him.
Watch me. I feel she love him.
Illusion too
because
bad.
I can't see this man doing all this thing and she ain't reporting he there because he partner get reported for all them thing where he teach Rowley to do we here. But Rowley doing it because he know we stupid. But I know my right and I know all what could happen to him. That is why he getting away and he reigning up to this day. And as long as he stayed there, and I tell all of that long time, as long as he inside of it, we will suffer and see trouble.
Well, I mean, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to see that. The thing about it is, the question is so long as he's there.
Well, rocket scientists, I telling all of that long time, all you could see it now.
But he will not be.
All you could see it, all you know.
Yeah, but he will not be.
You're talking rocket scientists now. You're talking rocket scientists. When I was saying it before, and I'm talking about reporting them all now.
But yes, well, I'm saying after you would have exposed and after you would have repetitively advocate to the people and make your case solid, of course, here, there, and everywhere. When people have come to the realization now, because there are other factors that would, of course, contribute to people accepting that what you were saying was in fact the case. So that is why I'm saying you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that.
Others in advocating.
Yeah.
If I could advocate and still advocating now for the report of this man, why you with an influential voice saying anything? and others too. Don't feel I'm
every day I'm
leaving you
talking,
alone.
and you're still, but you're wicked boy. You're wicked boy.
I ain't wicked. I talking the truth.
Well,
Open your mouth.
so I don't be talking. I don't be talking, but
And tell Sleeping Beauty to report this man.
who
Because
tell you that
I
is
know.
not happening? You see, you're being presumptuous, you're being preemptive.
Nah, don't start to jam me like how you jam Mr. Porter because I ain't here, you know. I could jam good.
Well, of course,
Watch
we all
me.
can. We all can. I respect
Don't
all of
jam
that.
me. Don't try and take out yourself. Open your mouth
What?
and encourage some of the callers for this lady to handle this man in the Organization of America, because I know when his friend get his backside inside of it through the people and the opposition, blah, 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 he had to jump out, you know.
Well, you're doing
He
a damn
jump
good
out,
job.
you know.
You're doing a damn good job, I can tell you that. So,
And
very
when you
little
let the
prompting
people
you
out,
need.
all the bad, when they start to handle him inside a day,
Oh, yes.
he had to sign off the walkout on the Organization of America. They're no longer in it, you know.
Yes, yes, yes.
And the day, if this, look now, I was suspecting this man could have jumped out of that, you know. But he's a two-sided fella. He's very tricky. He know how to handle America, and he know how to handle that Venezuelan man. He two-sided.
Yeah.
And I tell you, like he have America dotish. Right?
Who has America dotish? Who has America dotish? Who has?
Rowley.
Rowley, okay.
I don't know how they can do him something as yet.
All right, go ahead.
Anyhow, good night. Try and open your mouth. Try and open your mouth. You know better.
All right, my dear. All right, later. I know you want to try to open my mouth. I mean, that's like telling a microphone or a loudspeaker to open your mouth when in fact it is open. So that's. We have people with different positions, some strong, some not so strong, but all of which, of course, will contribute to the ultimate of recognizing that these people are poison and that they ought to be jettisoned from office. But a pleasant good night. Welcome.
Why does someone be talking nonsense night after night? And you entertaining her? Lennox, I will meet you and punch it anytime and expose you. I will meet you at
you already talking, man. You not joker, man. You not joker, man. You not joker. You are a joker. I tell you, come on John Street. I tell you, I want some help. I tell you, of course, if it is that you could park car good, I'm sure you'll be able to paint good. We want some people to paint. We want people, of course, to help us with the ceiling. Come and do something constructive now, man, because you're trying to defend the indefensible. You don't have the vocabulary. You don't have the articulative ability. And then worse yet, you don't have the facts that are pure and unadulterated. In other words, facts that, well, you say you have facts, but all of which are questionable. So, therefore, you are a failure like Rowley and like the PNM. And the quicker you get to understand that you are a persona non grata, or that it is null and void and of no effect, and that what you have to say is like water on duckback, it simply flies off because you are seen as a buffoon. Understand that? And of course, all I'm saying that if you're serious, text me. You don't have to tell me on air. Text me your real name. Send me a text saying what you have said there, and that it is you. I'll send you a pre-action protocol letter, and then you go and defend yourself in court. Where's the problem? You see, I am saying so to tell you that Rowley ain't do it for he. I call him a rapist and a pedophile whole night. Here it is I saying what I said about what you are saying about me. It means therefore Rowley could do the same thing. But let me tell you what happened with Rowley. One fella from the Ministry of Information believed that somehow he could defend Rowley. So he sends the radio station. Let me just go to the lines. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Oh gosh, you again? No. Send me. Come on George Street in the morning during the course of the program. I'll be at George Street in the morning. Come on George Street. I will tell Andy that you are in the studio. That is how gratuitous I am. I am not the type of person to hold anybody in enmity. So I will be very on George Street. There's no need for you to engage in fantasy or in ad hominem chance taking, or put another way, because you believe so is so. You believe that a fella like me, even though I'm from Laventille too, can't buy a building on George Street, and that is where your problem is. I understand that, but of course, but I am that kind of fellow. You don't know me. You see, that's the point. And therefore, in such circumstance, you will always, because of, in other words, if I was rooting the PNM, the PNM misinformation, I bet you he call in and challenge me. I bet you he say I the best thing since sliced bread. I had time with them fellas. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yes, Lennox,
Yeah,
is Arima here again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, here now you get damn mad where I call in there, you know. Yeah, he telling you why it is you just have this woman calling there every blasted night. So every night he listening to me.
Well, of course,
Mr.
the truth does offend. So people that start to cuss and get annoyed, irascible.
I know he would have get damn mad when I hear him jamming here. So I said I go call and give him some tempo. I go say something to get him.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was even listening to him, because I know that is always something off the path of truth and righteousness, and defending, of course, the indefensible. And that's the element that we are dealing with. Of course, it's going to intensify. It's going to intensify now that election is near and the PNM are going to lose.
The phone ringing, he calling, but let me tell you this before I hang up. I want to hear him. I just like to hear him. I mustn't block him.
You on one
let
side. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
He can't tell me nothing. He just can't tell me.
It's an old abandoned building.
Of course it is. I never said it was a new building. But what I'm saying is, you own anything in town? You own anything in town? Whether old or new. There's an old abandoned building. Yes, of course it was. That's why I got a good deal. That's why I got a good deal. That's why I got a good deal. Yeah. So what is it? What if it's an old abandoned building? I am saying, come and help me clean up. Come and help me paint. Come and help me because it's for the youths and them. You can't think that far. You're just like Heinz and them. You can't think that far to set up a program for the young people. But that's all right. You want to talk to Miss Arima? Miss Arima, you want to talk to him?
I'm listening. Yes. Let me talk
Miss Arima want to talk to him, man. I don't talk to you, otherwise I don't control for
Let him talk to me. Let him talk to me.
Miss Arima want to talk to you. I will talk to you because you are not of the quality that I would want to respond to in a civil and intellectual conversation.
I will post up the evidence.
Yeah, good.
Hello, good night. Hello, good night.
All right, the woman want to talk to you. But so Rowley supposed to do that, not you, and he's the Prime Minister. Where you can come with one? Give me a chance, sir.
Yeah. I'm listening to you, Mr. Porter Spain.
Yeah, come tomorrow.
Spain.
Hello.
I'm inviting you to come tomorrow.
But I want this man to talk to me, and here talking to me.
Right, so come tomorrow with the documentary evidence.
Mr. Porter
and then I will share minds with you, and then we move from there. That's something.
You remember the old
Lord, look how this man getting on. He talking to me, Lennox.
Now, like he have the agenda. It's me, or it's not you. It's me.
But I don't die nothing. I want to talk to him.
Right, talk to him.
Mr. Porter Spain. Mr. Porter Spain. Forget Lennox, let me talk now, man.
He
Oi,
You're on a
forget
roll.
Lennox.
You're on a roll. You're on a roll. But talk to him. Talk to him
Talk
about
to
it.
me.
You have to talk to him off the mic. Go ahead, talk. Talk to him.
What it is you want to know, Mr. Porter Spain? Like he gone?
Yeah.
Oh God, the man I like my tall now.
Yeah. I'll cut him off. You making sense.
You cut him off. Well,
Yeah.
listen, I tell you that the can't tell me nothing, you know.
Well,
They're afraid me like cat afraid water.
I hear you. I'm trying
All
to get
right,
this.
Lennox.
Yes, I'm trying to get this video downloaded, boy. But taking long, boy. It has some more time.
Carry on.
Yes.
Good night.
Will do. I really wanted to get this particular video up and running. Let me just see how far it has reached. It's only what it's 55% complete, so you still have a 45%. 45%, yes, 45% to go. That being as it may, people listen to where Rowley has brought the country, and of course there are some who still have some bizarre, some what I consider to be obnoxious adherence to that being something of significance. Pleasant good night to welcome.
Miss Arima, you are non-entity. You talk here every night. Everybody fed up of you. You are non-entity.
Oh no. All right. The program is not for that. I just entertain you for a little while. All right, let's get back to serious business. And people, this is what is important.
Her day she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Faithfully she fulfilled her sailor's need. Some were overpowered by greed, and so they pilfered slow. Some took bite, bulk, and go. Now she looked dull, she's at a lull. She could barely sit on her hull. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough, oh yes. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa. The Trinidad, in her day of sailing, she was a friend to one and all. She never once ever hesitated to answer all SOS calls. And yes,
what do I see? I see footprints that man have left on the sand by walking through time.
Yes, indeed, of course, the destruction of the PNM over the last 9 years so far. By the time the 10th year, Trinidad and Tobago will be disfigured. Yeah, disfigured. It is unimaginable as to where we can go if they continue in office. Of course, that will not happen because Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC will come to the rescue. Let's go to the line. Just hold on, caller, just a minute. Go ahead, caller. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
Yeah, I get real kicks with that caller. That's a typical example of the word I give you there. Caste aristocracy.
What's the word?
Caste aristocracy. Government by the least qualified citizens.
Yes. I remember that. Yes. Yeah, government by the least qualified. Yes, that's right. Yes. I remember that.
If you want an example of the word, that guy is it. Right?
Yes. We have autocracy. We have religious, etc. But yeah.
Yeah. Government by the least qualified citizens.
Least qualified. Yes. I remember that very distinctly.
Yeah. The propaganda machine on full throttle.
Yeah. That to me like it's on
Yeah,
steroids.
so it's
Like he took
yeah,
some
I'm
kind of some kind of what I consider to be external chemical substance.
yeah, have a good night. Have a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
night.
yeah, yeah. So that's how it is. That's how it is. But you have any additional
Yeah.
contribution to make? Having regard, of course, to
Yeah,
that.
but I was very, I was going to tell you, but I see your head hot.
No,
But
no, no, no,
I
no,
was
no, no, no,
impressed
no.
with, I,
That's how I operate and
I
respond.
saw a video on Breaking Dawn with
Uh-huh.
Mover Ravantel Secondary
Yeah.
with an Indian teacher.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he get, I think he get the best teacher in the school,
Uh-huh.
and how these students gel with him, and when he come to class, how they hug him up and things. I was very impressed because most of these students, they're African students.
Yes, that's an African dominated
Yeah,
community, yes.
right.
And
But there's an
and
Indian teacher,
and
and he was sharing doubles for the class.
yeah, oh.
I don't know if you saw the video.
Yeah, and the caption area in terms of where the students are coming from will be from around the community, Mova,
Yeah,
Laventil,
and
on the hill,
it's
etc.
one of the schools I don't see bullying at all.
Yes. I'm going to take a
Yeah,
note
so
of
I was
that
very,
because those are the
yeah, I
kinds
was,
of things I would want to inject into the youths around here because, of course, we are developing what is called an empowerment center right here on
yeah,
George Street. So apart from
yeah. So I was very impressed knowing
from the
that
run of the mill programs and so on, we will be doing some of those computer literacy, etc.
yeah, I was very impressed because he's of Indian descent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way these students, they hug him up, and you could see the love, a total love.
Yeah, but these and I want to put in a plug here for the students and the community itself. My experience has showed me, and I have been almost all of my adult life developing programs to, of course, make to generate the paradigm shift that is required and an attitudinal change that is required. Of course, we had over 6,000 persons graduated from the school. We had one fella, of course, made his way as a pilot in the United Kingdom Air Force. We have a lot of them in the
Yeah, I think I saw your show.
Right.
Your
And
show
a lot of them in the police, the army, etc. And if it wasn't for that intervention, they would not have been there. Over 6,000 of them over between 1980s, 84, thereabout, to be honest, and in earnest to about, let's say, 2000 when we were moving. But of course, when the PNM came into office, they didn't understand that. And they wanted to know Lennox Smith's political position. But of course, I always believe that if it is that at the level of the community, at the level of the neighborhood, the government fails to deliver. And even though you have a local government, let's say, establishment, and they fail, and as you know, in these areas, you have, of course, PNM dominated at both levels, then it is time for the population itself, the community, to take it to the next level. And that is why I formed, of course, the Laventil Outreach for Vertical Enrichment political organization dedicated only to the Laventils. I am disappointed, and increasingly so, particularly of his age, and of course, and I know that he means well. I'm talking about Mr. Porter Spain. I know him fairly well, and I know he and I are Desperado fans. I'm surprised that he didn't even comment as to why the government put Desperados on Nelson Street. He ought to know that that was wrong, and that will only, of course, inflame further what I consider to be violence on the ban, and of course further reduce the ban in more ways than one. And even if it may not turn out to be so, but the fact of the matter is the history of the place, the advisories against Trinidad and Tobago from Canada, United States, Europe, etc., that tells their population, if you're coming to Trinidad, whether for investment or as a tourist, and tourists here, of course, are use it in the context of wanting to see Despers, wanting to feel Despers, wanting to know where Despers is physically, then it is an injustice for the government to choose that location to put Despers, having regard to the experience, why they move from on the hill, and then telling us, I mean, it's a total insult when Rowley at the cutting of the ribbon to open that, what I consider to be disrespectful facility. Yeah, I see no other way to describe it. Saying that tourists will drive around the savannah, watch at some of his vanity projects, the Whitehall and the President House and so on, come down Charlotte Street, then go across, of course, Piccadilly Street, then go down Nelson Street and come to see Desperados rehearsing. I thought it was despicable. I thought it was insensitive. I thought it was disrespectful. And to hear, of course, a big man like that, who, of course, at one time I respected tremendously, to be taking positions as that, I think is extremely unfortunate. It means, therefore, that we have a lot of work to do when people like these would have departed, and we have to, of course, re-engineer a narrative and a concept about self-respect, and, of course, a developmental agenda that will certainly redound to not only cleaning up that place of the negative elements, the subterranean realities that are very, very common in these communities. But I always believe, bottom line, that it can be transformed. But with people like Mr. Porter Spain and the position that they take and what their values are and what they defend, I think it makes the work much, much more difficult.
Yeah, but don't waste time with that, man.
Don't waste time. No. We have to.
Don't waste time with him.
Oh, no.
Don't waste time with him.
Yeah, I see him as comic relief now. That's how I see him.
Let me start as comic. Yeah,
I don't see him as anything else. I just see him as, he's calling now. I'm sure that he's going to have something to say.
Well, he has nothing else to do.
But you know, that's how it is.
We have nothing else to do.
Yeah. All right, thanks very much for your intervention.
Yeah.
All right then. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Good night. Welcome.
Lennox, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How long have Despers been on Broad Street?
How long Desperados has been?
This
Well, it would have been earlier this year, in a sense.
Right.
What's the problem?
During the carnival season and to this day, they had concerts there. Have you ever heard of any untoward incident?
Not yet, but it doesn't take away the fact. All right. Let me ask you a question now. Since you asked me that, let me ask you a question. If you had the choice, would you have left the Despers on Chagridge Road or transfer them to Nelson Street? And whichever way your answer is, why? Go ahead.
The most important thing is...
No. I ask you a very specific question.
No.
You see, that's the level of dishonesty I don't like with you. I ask you a question. Would you have left... Let me repeat it again. Would you have left them on Chagridge Road or transport them to Nelson Street? And whichever way your answer is, tell me why.
Right. I would have... That's where they are now. I would have left them there. That's where they are. Right?
Go ahead. And why?
Have you ever heard any member, the executive or any member of Desperados or supporters complain about that venue?
you see, that's not yes, but they have not. Yes, and they have done so not in public. I made an intervention. I went and see. You know the fella with the. All right, let me tell you who. Let me tell you who in particular I just talked to, so you'll get the idea. And then go and confirm that with him. The fella with the ras, and he does wear a big cap, thin. He's slim built. He's always there. I think he has an executive position there. Go and talk to him. Right? And let me done the talk. Because you see this will get us to be serious enemies. Because I'm telling you,
you are being dishonest.
I'm being what?
You are being dishonest.
I'm being dishonest? I am telling you. Look. First of all, how the hell you gonna tell me I'm dishonest when you started the dishonesty by saying you go put them there rather than Chagridge Road? You can't even say that Chagridge Road is the better venue. Oh God. Oh gosh, man, come on, man. You're playing the ass now. Done the talk. Shit, man. A big man like you, come on, man. You're supposed to be an exemplar. because our incident didn't take place. The fact that the place has a reputation, the fact that internationally, well, go and look on, you say you're bright, you say you have facts. Look on any one of the website of the American Embassy, the German, the French, the Canadians, the English or British, and see what they say. Advices against Trinidad and Tobago: do not go. If you're going to Trinidad, don't go to Trinidad. But if you're going to Trinidad, do not go on Nelson Street. They tell me about. And Rowley knows that. And on the opening, he tells them, listen, he expects people, tourists, to come down in their groves on this. And you, typical of those government ministers, you get one success, and you're trying to make me believe, or the population, that it is the success. That is called framing. That's a psychological condition, my friend, called framing. In the desert of nothingness, and you have a oasis, you then try to make the desert a oasis. Come on, it's a big man. Come on, man. Stop that nonsense. And you claim to be a Lavantillian too. Stop that. Of course, I will not tell you that on the ground report, but I'll certainly tell you this on this program, because we have a duty and responsibility, and we have to work together in order to treat. But we cannot be at odds. When you are trying to sell us pie in the sky, when in fact the reality is different. Pastor, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, good night. This is the Silver Fox.
Yes, go ahead, my friend.
Well, I remember that man. I was in the toilet and I hear that man, and I just remember him talk this morning, and I was supposed to get back to him.
I hear you, my friend.
Right?
Yes.
Now, you saying something about Rowley. Rowley is saying nothing about himself, but he defending Rowley.
I'm telling you.
He knows
what the hell is this?
Let me explain something to him. It alleged when Rowley do all that nonsense to leave Tobago, is in a car trunk. Rowley leaves Tobago.
All that we know, and he defending that before he watched his glass and trap and try to save Lavantil.
He just want to be heard, right? Because I realize he afraid woman. You see how he on you, right? A lady call in and talk to she, and he can't talk to she because he must love cars more than a boy. Right?
Yeah.
He is not understanding. He and the next one called himself some police something with this thing this morning. Right?
Yes.
Now that fellow want Trinidad and Tobago to go communist, join BRICS and this kind of thing with China, Iran, and all them kind of places that want to join BRICS, Russia, all them places. We are not going in for this kind of thing here. We are not going in to be what he wants us to be, right? We are who we are, and he only pushing communists. He pushing. Me know where he from, but he pushing communists right through in Trinidad and Tobago, and he should start to hush up because we don't want to hear nothing about that no more. We don't want to hear you talking about we manifesto. Where he from is perfect. Eh? He live in a perfect world. I am waiting for in the morning here to take up on him. I know start, you know.
I hear you. And also they must be placed in their place, and they must know their places. I will put him in his place
in the morning. I know start, I know very what.
Yeah.
Right? I say UNC people supposed to, they are people too, and they are feeling the pain. They're supposed to come out with us and let us remove in the right way. Keep Christopher Rowley late call election. We're taking too much nonsense. Yeah. They have to come out. I don't care who is who, and I don't afraid nobody. Who wants to attack me?
You've got to get angry.
I have to live. I have to work to live. I am living, and I will stay strong. I will not give up. I will not secede to myself. I am a strong person, and I will never give up to nobody. Right?
Because right is right, wrong is wrong.
Thank you.
You want to tell me the damn thing is wrong, but somehow it's right because somebody doing you a favor or you like something. So therefore, it's right no matter what. And when people point out the wrong, you can't bring yourself to that realization. Well, let me tell all you something. I wouldn't be able to complete that clip because it's only 70% complete. But certainly I'll play it tomorrow because I think it is significant and it speaks to some of the things that we discussed tonight. But I want to say this. This is a situation. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Lennox, I don't have to defend Dr. Rowley. Dr. Rowley can defend himself.
Well, why are you so obsessed? Why are you so obsessed? Why are you so irritated? Why are you so irascible? Why are you always doing that? It has to be that because you're telling me, here you're telling a big man like me, and you're telling the Laventilians and the world that Nelson Street is the better place to be than on Transit Road. Oh gosh, man, shut up now, man. You ain't making sense, man. You're making sense. And let me tell you this: it's not the first. It's not the first to, of course, try to propel Laventilians and places like this to a state of suicide. Claiming to be leaders and that they have facts, etc. I was on Julia Davy program one time. I think it one shot or something like that. So I made the statement that listen, the swimming pool that Dr. Rowley said he got constructed for $5 million, they have shortchanged Laventil because he said that the original estimate would have been, I think, for 25 million or something like that, but it turned out that they got it done for 5 million. And I'm saying so to demonstrate and to also suggest a particular point, a point I want to make, a position I want to take, and that is where the disingenuousness and the dishonesty and the anti-progressive elements, and mind you, by people who listen to them in the PNM because they have a following, but will lead them down a gum tree, lead them down a ant's hole, lead them into a pick-a patch with the nonsense that they try to, of course, project onto the people. Now, on that program, I said that Laventil was the Laventil people it is at Sugar Trace. I said that Laventil people was shortchanged because if it is you have a swimming pool that was costing 25 million and you now get built for 5 million. It can't be the same swimming pool. There must be something that was taken out. There must be something that was not put in. There must be something that was reduced, etc. All of that. You can't tell me my common sense. I mean, I am no architect and neither am I a quantity surveyor, but my common sense will tell me that you have built something, should I say, substandard to what 25 million will bring in. And I was saying the same thing about the corrupt interchange when Rowley was saying that the last administration, the UNC administration, was looking to bring in that particular thing to a particular sum. I can't remember the exact sum, so I don't want to be quoted there. But they brought it down substantially to, I think, about 200 million as opposed, I think, to 600 million. Yeah, if my memory serves me right. And guess what? I said then, I say it must be that they did something to reduce that cost from there to where they are. And while they were not saying it then, it's in the last budget, they ended up saying that certain things were rerouted. And of course, in my humble estimation, I say, well, all right. They have control of UDCUT, and UDCUT being, of course, the manager of the project. I could see them, of course, reducing UDCUT's, let's say, profit on that particular project or their take on the project. I could see that. But if it moves from 600 million to 200 million, it means therefore it's more than that, because Unicut's take on it will be less than 400 million. Sorry, yes, will be less than 400 million. And then it's only recently the design was redesigned and they left out certain parts of it, and that is how that came about. And it's the same thing with that swimming pool that I was arguing. But I will complete that encounter with Julia Davy in a while on that swimming pool. A pleasant good night.
In the last budget, they ended up saying,
go ahead, caller.
That certain things will.
1 minute. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to tell Mr. Porter Spain this, right? We're talking about the panyard on Nelson Street. If you're going by the panyard, you ain't just appearing by the panyard. You have to go to the panyard walking or driving, right? Riding a bicycle, etc.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say we take it from the north and somebody walking down Nelson Street from Duke and Nelson Street by Grissom. You're taking it from the bridge and you're going down Nelson by the panyard. Waiters does go on there by Grissom, going all down to Queen Street, lower down past Queen Street. Waiters does take place there in the corner Queen and Nelson Street, Port of Spain. The vicinity in which the panyard in is dangerous because you're coming down from the bridge, you know. Look, the other night when you talking on the show there.
Yeah,
on George Street, where you talking. And the thing so hard, I said, happen right downstairs there by the building.
It's leaders like them will send people off a cliff. You remind me of Farmer Old Dog. Send people off a cliff.
Say you're coming from Laventille. Say you come down Laventille Hill there. And you pass by the bridge again, Prince Street. And you go down Nelson. What is happening there? They're shooting there? Hold every day in your way, in your way.
No, they're walking down Frederick Street. They're walking down Frederick Street. They're walking down.
And they got disappear by the panyard. But I think it had some shooting there, you know. But sometime, I can't remember, but it added here a little something.
Listen, it was my job to monitor that project. And guess what? About a week or two before that place was open, there was a drive-by shooting at the corner of Nelson and Queen Street. I think 2 persons died. And when they find the car was up by Low Place. So it means that therefore the war between them fellas on the hill there, where the Spurs come from, and these fellas down here, and it's just a matter of time before it escalates. So to say that because so far nothing has happened, you eliminate and you whitewash and you sanitize
right
that
there
whole
by
arrangement.
the panyard.
It is a wicked man.
It didn't have to happen by the panyard. I say on your way coming, even if you take it from Independence Square.
Yeah, but just saying,
is he I talking to? Is he I talking to? Even if you take it from Independence Square West, heading east, and you come up George Street, you reach George Street corner by the cathedral, and let's say you turn up Nelson now. What taking place all there? All by that grocery in the corner of George, there's a serious gunshot. Man dying right there.
I never believed that matter surprised me.
Listen, at time years ago, I walking up George Street. You're here right there by Prince before I reach Prince Street corner. Just to reach, I see the whole place. You know that tape that has put it court north.
Yeah.
And when I asked a police officer what happened, I'm talking some years ago, but Lennox, I see 4 men on the ground right there, right there.
It was a regular thing.
You're listening to me? I see 4 men on the ground dead.
Yeah.
That was the worst. 4 dead one time. I just called there the cemetery, you know.
And I was going to ask him, if he was honest, I was going to ask him what he thinks about Dr. Rowley's statement that tourists will come there regularly after they visit.
Listen, and then the
things
place so
but I can't
stink, it's
ask him. I can't ask him
shaming.
because I realize that he is brain dead at
Watch me
minimum.
all wrong. This thing, I set a old building, it's shaming in this old place. This
Yeah.
look, I don't know what to call wrong there. Look
Yeah.
here now. Rowley and them mad, yes. Good night
If them are
again.
again, and you have Mr. Potter Spain defending that boy. Oh God, boy, no. I really shocked tonight. But let me finish with Julia Davy, because it's a similar conclusion one has to draw. She turned and tell me, I said, well, I said Laverton was shortchanged by at minimum about $20 million. And she's telling me that, of course, they have a swimming pool, and the children and the people could come and swim and so on because they never had it before. I turned and told her, because callers came in afterwards, and of course I started to laugh at them and so on, and they got angry because they knew that they were talking nonsense. They knew that they couldn't justify that, and guess what? A pleasant night, welcome.
Lennox, the reason why interchange came in less is because of the corruption. That is why
I now tell you something, man. Listen and learn, man. You're not listening and you wouldn't learn. So it's clear, because you now tell me that you prefer Nelson Street location. So I don't know that you have been not just intoxicated, but you have been poisoned with something that have you extremely irrational. All right? So I don't tell you something and you tell me something else. Leave me alone, man. Yeah, so Julia Davy is arguing that, well, at least they have I said, no, that is not the point. And then I had to tell her to make her realize that she should be thinking along a line that shows a genuine facility for genuinely addressing the problems of the area, even if it's by way of a swimming pool. So I tell her, but all right, if it's so, then of course, then people who training for Olympics, instead of going up to the aquatic center, let them come up here. She say how I'm trying to insult her. But the thing about it is that in your common sense will tell you that. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that. Rowley and they would say that because they want to look good, they want to, of course, pretend that you're doing something for the people and so. But if you say something move from 25 million to 5 million, it cannot be the same facility. Just as how the 600 million to 200 million cannot be the same facility. What you telling me about? Your common sense will tell that corruption my foot, and nobody was accused of corruption coming out of it in terms of actually putting monies in their pockets. It was supposed to be, it was futuristic. A pleasant night, welcome. Yeah.
Casey was fired because he exposed sewage. Is that interchange?
Well, whether it's so or not, the fact of the matter is that they got it, it came in as that.
When she went to camera.
Listen, I know all of that. Look at what is being said about the interchange today. People like Terence Farrell, they will tell you that what was constructed there is not what was designed, and therefore it would have cost much more than what Rowley and them say. More than that, we know yet how much the Minister of Works get for the K. Donna land that he claimed. All of that we don't know. Is it that the Minister of Works was part of the corruption? Is that what you're saying? But at any rate, when I told Julia Davy that let them people who are willing to train for Olympics purposes, let them come up here instead and practice. She told me how I'm trying to insult her. Because that's what you look for. It cannot be the same thing. No way. Your common sense will tell you that in the first place, and whether there was corruption, allegations, etc., and somebody get fired and so on. The fact of the matter is that it could not have cost 200 million. It's the same thing with the so-called swimming pool at the diplomatic center and the maintenance. When Rowley said that he paying less now for maintaining the swimming pool, when we asked several swimming pool maintenance experts, you know what the tenant say? The tenant say, what Rowley going and pay it? And we don't know what, since then he remained silent. And when they remain silent, you know, it means that he faced reality now. You know, they say that he was only paying for 2 hours or cleaning that swimming pool twice or 3 times a week. It can't be for a total maintenance job. That is the kind of nonsense that we have to tolerate from these leaders. And then you have people like these who are absorbing that wholesale without, of course, question, and have the audacity and the temerity to call on this program and try to impugn other people's character, when in fact you need to clean up your own act. Come on, are you a dunderhead? Are you inane? Are you so vacuous that you don't know that you need to apply your common sense? And what makes you a leader? What makes you a leader? When you, of course, are brainwashing and misinforming young people and encouraging them, of course, to engage in the nonsense that they are engaged. Not that directly, you know, because, of course, what you say, you may say is irrelevant. But when you say that desperados should be where they are, and when, of course, a thing costing 25 million and you get it for 5, and it's the same thing, you're insulting people's intelligence. And it's the same thing for the blasted exchange, whether they said it was corruption or not. That corruption was futuristic, because if it is somebody get fired, and if it is, of course, somebody squeal, then there is no corruption. It was to be. It was to be. It's just like Rowley, with respect, of course, to the Petroleum oil refinery. He's saying no. He tells us that, of course, Heritage make a windfall because of the war between Russia and Ukraine. $8 billion. And he could find the money now to, of course, increase the public servants' emoluments from 2% to 4%. Huh? That's what he was saying. They get $8 billion. You know, he stood clear. While Biden was warning those refiners in the United States. They're making a killing. Money like peas. He warned them, oh God, ease up the consumers now. So imagine, Rowley never, that's how dishonest these fellas are. He never, at minimum, say, well, make at least a scenario. You know, if the oil refinery was operating. You know, this is the projected amount with this new scenario, in spite of the fact that we had to import 100,000 barrels of oil. But this is the projection, having regard, of course, to the price of oil produced items via the oil refinery we will be making up. Never, always for some advantage. And that is dishonest. That is nasty. But of course, since he's a rapist and a pedophile, I suppose, you will expect that from these people. But Mr. Porosman, damn you. You're dishonest to your own self. And you are dangerous to the population that either surrounds you or with which you interact. From what you have said there tonight. I was giving you a modicum of leeway, because I say, well, you're probably sycophantic and that you're frustrated and there's a tradition and so on. So I understand that. But no, I'm disappointed, man. But people, of course, we have come to the end of tonight. It is 19 minutes. Let me see. Yeah. How much it is? Yeah, 19 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock. We should have finished at 10 o'clock. But have a wonderful one. I think it was a good cause to have delayed. Once again, of course, don't forget tomorrow morning on the ground report, Andy, Mikey, and myself, as we continue. Now, in spite of that, Mr. Porterswain, I still invite you to come on board. Let us, of course, develop programs and share ideas that will truly, on a sustainable basis, for sustainable purposes, address this burgeoning problem that the community you and I love. I know that you love, please, otherwise you would have leave already, just as me. Just as me. If I could buy a place on George Street, certainly I could have left already. And who knows, you never can tell how much other places I have, but that is not for you to know. But the fact of the matter is that we have a commitment to these places. And together, being real, being honest, and being truly developmental, Desperados has no right to be where they are. You know that. You know that. And if you are a member of the executive or a long-standing influential element, at least your voice should have been heard in that regard, protesting the moving of Desperados from where they are, where they were, to where they are. Let's not waste time. You're wasting my time. You're wasting my blasted time. People, have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And let's see who are the ones that have created the problems for Trinidad and Tobago today. A criminal enterprise called the PNM. Of course, supported by people like Porterswain. Yeah. Set up reaction protocol letter for me. I say that the PNM is a criminal enterprise supported by you. You might be able to win a case that way because first, of course, I will have to prove that the PNM is a criminal enterprise. And if it is not, if I can't prove it, but then, of course, you have a case of accusing you of supporting a criminal enterprise. Not that you are a criminal, but you're supporting it. Yes, people, of course. So we have come.
And when I really think of it, I just wonder why, oh why. I see charity deplored, equal rights totally ignored, wisdom and ingenuity working in accord, simply to afford such inventions as thermonuclear warfare and environmental warfare. And I wonder now, where do we go from here? Prophets everywhere gaze upon the horizon and declare that judgment will come as the savage hands of unscrupulous men defile everything pass by. Time is running out as we eat and drink, species at the brink of being extinct. And I think no one can deny that the price of progress is high, real high. I see consciousness as great as today we live recklessly. Money make egos inflate and thereby create a turbulent state. I see a struggle between the sexes, new hang-ups and old complexes. Now the question is, right in context, what shall be next? I've already seen this world have come divided between race, color, creed, and class. And some of the things the scripture predict truthfully come to pass. Soil that wouldn't bear children, making children to be a part of this growing mass. And I ask, if this is progress, how long will it last? What do I see? I see footprints that man have left on the sand while walking through times. I see fruits of our ambition, figment of our imagination, and I ask myself, when will it end? When will it end? It is plain to see, universally this land is not bountiful as it was, simply because in his quest for success, nothing stands in man's way. All rivers run dry, soon the birds will fly, the mountains will be no